Have you guys heard of the, this is going to be kind of on the nerd side, but the Expeditionary Force series, sci-fi series? Okay, don't read them. They're just so nerdy, but there's this guy that's just constantly, he's like, talks about himself and he goes, trust the awesomeness. They say it so much in the book that you just start saying it. Like, driving in my car, I'll be like, just trust the awesome. Okay. Oh, I'm streaming. Well, that's a good way to start the stream. Okay. So I'm hoping that the stream is going to be, the connection's going to be better. I'm upping. I have been plugged in Ethernet, but I still think it just hasn't been quite smooth enough. So I'm going to up that bandwidth on it. Today we're going to start doing, the plan is, and we kind of talked about this in the meeting beforehand, but now that we're into it a couple weeks, or a week, I guess, we're going to start doing 10 beat per minute increments every class or every lab. So today we'll do 80 beats per minute at eighth notes, accent grid and diddle grid. Tuesday we'll go up to 90. Thursday 100, and so on. After we've completed 150, we're gonna split it and we're gonna go back down to 80 and we're gonna start playing them as 16th notes, and then we're gonna build up from there in 10 increments. Now this gets, as you can imagine, it gets excuse me, exponentially, I think would be the word, but there's a better word for it, but as it gets faster, it ramps up quicker and quicker. So that's why this first week and the first few seem a little like, man, this is very slow going. Am I getting anything out of this? But you'll see if you're sticking with it that it gets fast. So we should be at 130, which depending on how everyone's doing, we'll call 126 or maybe we'll do 130, I don't know. By mid-August. We're going to split, I think, the first one of August. So it's like in August, we're at 16th notes. And then that is going to give us some time to start working on some flams. So to kind of, oh, one second. Where are the sticks that I want? Okay. So, just to give a little, we'll just talk about flams a little bit every session, but flams, we're going to start in the set position. Make sure you guys can see my sticks. Oh, real quick, I've got where is it? This Venmo thing. This is not required at all. I put it up there. It looks a little tacky to me, but I do want to give people an opportunity to donate or support the channel, because it does take, I'm putting some time into it. I'm not, it's my first round at doing a stream, so I don't really want to charge for it, and I kind of want to see how things go. But if you feel like you want to support, please do. I think you just bring your phone. You can either take a screenshot or you can take your phone and put it up to that Venmo barcode, and it'll take you to the thing. So, okay, so flams real quick before we get started. So set position, and then if it's a right-handed flam, your right hand's going to come up, and then you're going to hit. Okay, so the left grace note here is going to hit first. The key is keeping this rest hand in position. So getting used to pulling this back. You might just kind of get used to doing that. Now the separation of the grace note is, can be really tight depending on how you're wanting to articulate it, or it can be kind of loose. And that's just, those articulations are just kind of depending on what the music is. But I say keep it pretty tight, at least when in your practice at first. And then you want to practice alternating them. So right-handed flam, then be in the set position, then pull left hand back, left-handed flam. Set position, right hand back. And I recommend doing this in these steps. So Pull back, hit, stay in set position. That's a step. Pull back. So just kind of get your feet wet doing those. Okay, so we're going to do a short 8 on a hand here. So it's Saturday. We'll start at 80 since it's Saturday. Okay, I think we all know how to do 8 on a hand now. Oop. Okay, there we go. Hey, I'm getting better at the that. All right, here we go. Are you going tradition, Nate? Oh, Zoomers too. Make sure to mute. I'll go tradition today. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Tight. For the olds out there, if you're old, I recommend glucosamine. I've been taking it every day. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Oh, let's stop. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I forgot to share my screen to Zoom. You Zoom. Oh my gosh. How could I treat you guys that way? You're the. Okay. I can't remember if I need to share sound or not. I don't think I do. Okay, how's that, you guys? Okay, good. Okay, sweet. Here we go. Let's try that again. Glucosamine. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, 90. 2, 1, 2. There we go. Make sure that upstroke happens early. There we go. One, two, stretch it out. Good. 100. 1, 2, 1, 2, there. 120. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. 130. Good, 140. Good, 150. Good, 160. Start incorporating a little bit of the molar if you need to. So a little bit of that whip, not a lot. Still try to isolate it if you can, but you might need to get a little bit more energy into the stick. Go for it. 170. 1, 2. Okay, 180. Okay, here we go. 1, 2. Sick. All right. Okay. All right. feeling those. I always like to feel the 16ths afterwards, just to see what those are feeling like. Okay, good. So moving on. So we're at, where are we at here? Okay. No need to talk about it. We could just go. So, 80 beats per minute. Accent grid. So we're gonna do 4. There'll be like a bar in between for break, and I'll guide it. And then there's one that's just like one line. So just All right, I think we might go a little over. Maybe I can't tell, but we started a little late. So all right, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Good. 2, 1, 2. Here we go. $29. One, two, 1, 2. Here we go. There it is. Typo, sorry. 3 in a row. One, two, 1, 2. Here we go. Gosh, took a second for that left hand to know what it was doing. Oops. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. Here we go. Those transitions are so important, Because when we get faster, they're going to be tough. Don't forget to look ahead, even at this slow tempo. Or especially at this slow tempo. 1, 2, here we go. Another typo, sorry. So I'm really starting to be able to stretch out a little bit more now. One, two, here we go. One of my favorite ones. 1, 2, here we go. Come on, left hand. Really feel that last accent. Crossing the bar line. Clave. Yeah, just add bass drum to that one. All right. 13, 2, here we go. Clave. $121. Okay. 1, 2, here we go. Crossing the bar line. $141? I messed up. I think that's right. Okay. Okay, 145. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Kind of exaggerate them if you can. Good. 2, 177, 2, here we go. Good. 293, 2, here we go. Exaggerate them if you can. Good. 2, 209. Ready. Go. Home stretch. Good job. Man. Yeah, I learned a lot about my left hand on that round. I think playing drum set, I've kind of lost some of that range of motion in the hand, or in the, here. I think I've been relying kind of on this, because it's really hard to get back, and just my placing is off, so this is good. I'm curious what everybody's finding out about their own hands on all this, because I feel like every time I do work like this, I find something new out. Or something that I'm doing, a bad habit, or just something that maybe once in my life I was doing pretty good, and then now I'm not, and it all changes. So just because our technique changes so often. So let me know what you guys are figuring out. All right, so coming up next, we've got Diddle grid, but I don't think we need to talk about it. Okay. Diddle grid at 80. Let's see. I guess for those doing tradish, you know, try to have it be, and this is something I'm going to be working on too, but have the rotation be here and coming kind of from this thumb here. Shouldn't have to use any finger to do it yet. I know there's like that push-pull here, oops. But you should be able to do it all right here. And I think the key thing, at least for me that I'm noticing, I've got kind of the benefit of having this camera to look at, but is that my tradish hand, I think from playing like different dynamics and articulations, I lose the straight up and down. It's not quite, and that's not very efficient. So you would really, what you want is the stick to be going straight up and down like that. So watch for that when you're doing, if you're doing tradish, that there's just like a clean path in the rotation straight up and down. And then, you know, when you want to play music, come in at an angle if you want and stuff. But okay. And then let's see. I always like to check and see if I can just make it sound, how I can make it good I can make it sound before I get into it. So if we want it to sound like this, here's the check. You can always do one hand to kind of just remind yourself of the sound. So let's see if we can do that. Still a little lopsided. And sometimes it's like, well, is it the drum? Am I hitting a different part of the drum? Sometimes that's true, but in my experience, you can usually find a way to make it sound like that. Like it's in the hands too. Okay, so yeah, do your best to get it as close as you can, and if you do that work, you'll really start to realize how different the velocity, like you're hitting each hand, like, and that will really bring that into focus. So try to get it as close as you can. Okay, diddles, here we go. Oh, we get a drink of coffee first. Just imagine a bunch of people like getting in position. 1, 2, 1, 2, here we go. This is good for me. There it is. Phrase starts there on that pickup. Man, that's starting to sound good finally. Gosh, I swear up to this point it's like I've not been happy with how it's been sounding. Here we go, 17. 1, 2, here nursery rhyme. Ba, 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 ba. Such a nursery rhyme. Answer? There's that answer. Ba, 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 ba. Actually, I'm gonna stop because that's a good teaching moment. So this first one, and people who have taken jazz lessons or done some jazz are familiar with the question and answer. It's a really good way to get sort of talking, and it's a good way to approach improvising. So somebody asks a question, ba ba da ba da ba da ba da ba ba da 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 da. You know, it's just kind of like you can come up with any sort of scat to make it happen. Rhythmically, you have to kind of fill in the blanks, but for this, to give you an idea about how different each one of these is and why each one of these lines is so important. If you're reading these lines going, who cares, it's just the same thing, just other one, it's like, you will be a better musician if you really take to heart that each one of these lines has a completely different musical phrase and says a different thing, just like different chord voicings say, evoke different emotions or tell a different thing. These rhythms do too, and a lot of it is you got to read between the lines, and you really got to kind of like fill in the blanks. But on number 17, we've got the on the beat. Ba, 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 ba. That's the question. Answer. Ba, 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 ba. So all that to say is like, try to take to heart and each one of these as being like a totally different phrase and musical voice. 25, 2, 1, 2. Here's the question. Go. Here's the answer. Actually, those kind of sound backwards. All right, so you make the call on those. 1, 2, 33, go. Focusing on how it sounds. Ba, ba, ba. Wow, this is really starting to open it up for me. This is really good. Oh, here's that weird one. 1, 2, here we go. Two, 53, 2, here we go. Transition. We're coming after you. Don't come after me. Okay, cool. Next one. 1, 2, 69, go. fulcrum by just squeezing a little bit. So pinch the index finger and the thumb a little bit to remind yourself where that is. If you're playing tradish, squeeze that thumb down a little bit. That'll put it back in the wrist and the rotation. 2, here we go. Oof. Man, yeah, I'm finding out a lot about how I'm not in shape in my hands. Here we go. 1, 2, here we go. Squeeze that fulcrum. Squeeze the fulcrum. I think I messed that up. Let's do that again. 1 and 1. 1, 2, here we go. Okay. 2, 109, 2, here we go. Shoot. Man, my hands are feel so bad that I'm having a hard time concentrating because of my desire to improve this. Okay, 125, 2, here we go. $137. Two, 141, 2, here we go. Nice and open. Those are feeling actually kind of good, finally. 157. 1, 2, here we go. Come on. Okay. 173, 2, here we go. That one's fun. Okay. 1, 2, 89, go. Home stretch. Dang. 1, 205. 205. 1, 2, here we go. Clean it up. Two oh nine. Try to have your strokes be the same if you can. The heights. Here it comes, nice and open. Man, I just did something really, really stupid, and I did something that I don't want anybody to ever do, which is 221. We'll do that last line again. 2, here, 1, 2, 221. Hold on. 1, 2, here we go. So I'm getting a little bit discouraged. Not discouraged, but my hands aren't really doing what I know they can. Like, it's not feeling great to me yet. And so that frustration started to set in. And towards the very end, when it was the final go there, I just ended it. And That is exactly what we don't want to do. We want to, no matter how frustrated we are, no matter whatever it is, we need to fight for that sound all the way to the end. And also just, this is really good because, like, I don't know, I could probably write down 100 things that I found wrong with my hands during that run. I don't know if it's because I'm doing tradish. I've been struggling with the range of motion with that plate in my wrist, just trying to get it back. And my right hand is just not as, it's like not as good as my left, which is such an opposite problem. But I've been frustrated a little bit because I know where it's felt and where it's been before. And the key is if you might be struggling with the reading, because that's the other thing. I mean, I'm on this round, I missed the reading like a couple times or a few times because I'm so focused on my hands and all this other stuff. So all that to say is it's like a golf swing. We're putting there's so much that we're having to put I don't golf, by the way. I kind of look like I do right now, but I do not golf. I just like golf attire. Big Bill Murray fan. But so if you're struggling with the reading and you don't have time to think about your hands, that's fine. Do your best and be getting good at the reading right now. Once that's in place, you're going to all of a sudden start being able to focus on your hands. Once whatever that thing that you're working on there is, you're not thinking about that anymore. You're thinking about the next thing. So it's this continuous process of adjusting. We don't like, if you think that you're already there and this is easy, then you're not there. There's always something to think about in your hands, whatever it is, whatever part of this process it is. If you've got the reading down, great. Then you've got that sort of like your understanding of it and you're able to read through it. That's awesome. That's a good first step. If you've already been playing drums for a long time and your hands are really good, but you don't read, then having your hands be really good, that's a good first step, and now focus on the reading. All to be said is there's always something to work on, and I was getting a little bit overwhelmed because I'm finding like 100 things that I'm needing to work on. The main thing that I want to bring up is, especially with diddles, is that, and this is going to get easier as we go faster, and in my experience, when I felt sloppy or not great slow, as you start to get fast, certain things start to get easier, and then when you bring it back slow, all of a sudden the slow tempos sound better. So I'm not going to get too discouraged, but one thing I want to talk about is this on the diddles, making the phrasing of it, this pulse, like if it's a song and that's the groove, we don't want to lose the groove of this when we add a diddle. So we don't want them to be disjointed or separated, like we want to keep this groove. Now this gets harder if you're trying to keep the set position. So with diddles, we're not having to go stop into that set position. It's an open stroke. So nice and back and forth. So it's a little bit more of a legato stroke, but when you add the diddle, it doesn't change anything. It simply just adds it to it. And see, it took me, it's right now it's taking me a few times to remember what that feels like. See, the first one's not there. So the goal is to have it first time, every time you play it, especially the first time, because then you know you really have it. And we don't want to be sounding good on bar 2 or bar 3 or 4 bars into the verse, or you count a song off, or like you start playing and you want it to sound good immediately because you're setting the tone for everyone else how this is all gonna sound. And if you lose them on that first bar, all of a sudden everybody else around you is like, is it, all of a sudden there's question marks. You want things to sound good right away. So until it's just That's why we're doing this, so that when you do this, see, it's like first time around. Left hand's weak. That's pretty good. So practice just going back and forth between singles and adding diddle. That's bad. That's another reason why it's important to warm up. Yeah. See, and it's just, that's why we're doing this, because it's not great yet. It will be, but take this opportunity to really hone that in. That's what I'm doing, and yeah, hopefully by the end of this, we'll just sound super solid, super consistent. This goes back to just, it's not about being able to do it once. You know, if you can make it sound good once, that's really great, but it's about sitting down and just every time you play it, it's nice, you know, smooth, sounding good. Go watch a jazz drummer, go watch some jazz, and listen to how consistent everybody is. But the drummer, since we're drummers, pay attention to the drummer, just how consistent each hit is. You know, look, hone in on the ride cymbal. It's not like, it's not about, oh, you played a great solo, or you kept, you know, it's like, consistently over the night you'll see things sound good. Okay, so that's what we're going for. Got a long way to go. I do. I'm like, man, this was kind of an eye-opener for me, because I'm just like, whew, my hands are not where I want them to be. So I'm glad we're doing this. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Please talk to me about it, because I thrive on talking to other drummers about this stuff. So I don't know, comment or email. I don't know how to, whatever, however people do it. All right. I hope the stream came through. I got a few screens going here, so I'm trying to figure out how to get my mouse. But oh, there we go.